So in the Heart Sutra, it says the mind is no hindrance. And already that's funny, huh? Yeah, it doesn't feel like that. But this Heart Sutra is some kind of good news if we can get there, you know, if we can get there. But it does take a little effort. My first teacher, Zen Master Sung Sung, he would always say, no mind, no problem. Have mind, have a problem. And then he would always tell us to put it all down. And that was hard for me. I resisted that teaching over and over and over. And lately, a lot of the teachers in our tradition will say, let it all go. They feel like, oh, that's a little gentler, and it might be more skillful. And for me, I always had to see what I was holding before I could let it go, almost all of the time. There were those rare occasions where my don't know would be so strong, everything would just disappear, and I was able to let go. And then this direct experience is available. And then the mind that we have works clearly. There's an old Zen poem, the first two lines, it's funny, riding a cow while looking for a cow. It's funny, riding a cow while looking for a cow. And this is making the point. Traditionally, cows are a metaphor for our mind. And Sung Sung would always say, you cannot see your own mind. It's the same as our eyes. We're using our eyes all the time, yeah? But we never see them ourselves. We know they work, we know when they're not working, etc., but we never see them. We can see a reflection of them. That's as close as it gets. Our minds are the same way. We can see a reflection of our mind. We can see the contents of our mind, but we cannot see our actual mind. So don't try. And there's no gain in that. Thich Nhat Hanh, when he teaches mindfulness, the last component of teaching mindfulness is mindfulness of objects of mind in the mind, which basically just means know what you're thinking, feeling. Know what you're thinking and feeling. Don't have it hidden from you. Also, lately, I've been emphasizing heart-mind because the Chinese character for mindfulness is the character for now, which is sort of a mountain shape, and then the character for the organ of the heart. So when this tradition was in China, if they said mind, they meant heart. And if they were talking about meditation, it's the now heart mind is kind of the way to think of it if you're going to abstract it into an idea. So what everybody did, which was of an enormous benefit today, was for 30 minutes, you were experiencing your now heart mind. Now you may have been distracted by content, but at some point you came back. Then you were distracted again, and then you came back. And that's actually the practice. And you're strengthening your now heart-mind when you do that. You're making it more of a habit. Everyone else in Long Beach at that same period of time, from 3 to 3:30, were thinking things, following the thought. Thinking things, saying the thought. Thinking, acting. Thinking, saying. Thinking, acting. No, not necessarily aware what they were thinking or what they were saying. Only follow, follow, follow. So that's the remarkable thing about meditation. When anyone just sits down and starts to explore, starts to look. This capacity is naturally there, and there's no wrong way to do it. Once we have a mind, then we've got to sort it out. So if our don't know center is strong enough, we can just let go of all of it. And just, oh, what am I doing right now? Just do it 100%. But we're not always that way. And in traditional Buddhism, there was a kind of traditional psychology, because they weren't that different from us. And there were these long sutras written about the nature of mind. Because if a person had a mind, then they had to attain it or understand it. They had to see what they were doing. And so these sutras were written to help with that. So that's where I got the topic for today, in the sense of first Sun Sanin's expression. So he's always speaking from a Zen point of view. No mind, no problem. Have mind, then have problem. And you can reverse engineer it. Oh, I have a problem, right? So what is the mind that's causing it? We can reverse engineer our experience, starting with suffering and then going back. But do that really gently. Do that really kindly. We're extending compassion and a gentleness to it. Because then whatever the problem, so-called problem is, will teach us how to transform it into wisdom. And the teachers can't do that for us. The sutras can't do it for us. Buddha doesn't do it for us. We're the one to do it. We're the Buddha that does it by paying attention. So I just wanted to read 2 or 3 of these. These come from a book, I'm not sure I can recommend it, Understanding Our Mind, because it's not entirely a Zen book, you know? But if it appeals to you or resonates, then maybe check it out. When I first read it, it was just trouble for me. It caused a lot of suffering. So I put it away for about 15 years. Then every once in a while I go back, oh, this is kind of helpful. This is good. No, the other stuff, I think it has to do with my Catholic heart-mind background that just grabs on, gets all judgy, and then creates a baseball bat, and then I hit myself with it for like a day or 2 until I stop. So be warned. So there are 51 verses on understanding the mind. They're quite short. I'm just going to look at 46 and 47. 46 is transformation at the base. We recognize internal knots and latent tendencies, so we can transform them. When our habit energies dissipate, transformation at the base is there. So I'll read that again. It's a little dense. We recognize internal knots and latent tendencies, so we can transform them. When our habit energies dissipate, transformation at the base is there. So I want to point out, just by looking, these habit energies dissipate by themselves. We don't make them dissipate. We just shine the light of our attention on them, and they begin to change. And if we're not shining the light of our attention on them, they are driving the car. They may be latent, but they sometimes control us. So then the next verse, 47, is titled The Present Moment. The present moment contains past and future. The secret of transformation is in the way we handle this very moment. I'll read that again. The present moment contains past and future. The secret of transformation is in the way we handle this very moment. So there it becomes a kind of Zen teaching, almost. Zen will say, the past doesn't exist, and neither does the future. And even when we say now, by the end of the word, that moment has already passed. So we're participating in an eternal now all the time, but we've dragged our trauma, our memories, our grudges, our agenda from, in my case, the last 71 years, into right now. And that's really unpleasant. It's because it's all up here. It's in the mind, it's being created. And or our anxieties about the future. The stories we're running about how we're going to solve a problem, how we're going to change our career, how we're going to sell one house and buy the next one. Whatever it is, not that those things aren't functional or needed, but they are taking up a kind of bandwidth and a kind of creativity and energy. Sun Tzu would often say to us, a Zen mind is like going to the movies. And we would have no idea what he was talking about. He'd say, yeah, you can buy a movie ticket, go to a really good movie, you sit in the dark, you start to watch the movie, you stop thinking about yourself. The hero comes on, oh, you really like the hero. The heroine comes on, oh, you really like the heroine. Then the story's really good. You can't stop following it. All your thoughts and feelings are for others. They're for the imaginary people on the screen. You're not worried about yourself. And then there's some big danger. Oh, the bad guy's coming, the bad guy's coming. You're caught up in that. Only compassion. Only hope for a good event. You know, then the person begins to die. Then you're crying, sad, sad, sad. You know, then the bicycle floats up in the sky. Oh, then you're really happy, happy. That's a Zen mind, because no I, my, me. And that's why it's so refreshing to hear a good story or go to the movies. Because we stop thinking about I, my, me, but we still get the world. Well, it's possible to just let go of I, my, me entirely and then get the real world. And then we can see clearly what's going on around us, and we can become skillful spontaneously. So I passed out this little drawing. This was a teaching of Sun Tzu's. He never did a drawing like this. But I found myself giving this talk every once in a while, and people would get all, they'd like to remember it, and they couldn't. So I got Bernie to make a graphic. It's beyond my computer skills. But these were four minds that Master Sun Tzu always talked about. A holding mind, a making mind, a wanting mind, and a checking mind. Chris, did you not get one?
No, that's fine, I see it.
Look over the shoulder. There's more here. So, first I'll talk about making mind. This is a mind that makes the whole world, yeah? So we're using these minds, but then we also become slaves to these minds. So our practice is, oh, I'm making that. We notice that we're making it, and then we have some freedom about how to use what the mind is making or not making. Making is, from one point of view, we make the entire universe, yeah? Even neuroscientists say, this is just a black box. There's everything coming in, the five senses, and then it's creating a whole universe in here. Well, you can start owning that, and that will be the beginning of transforming it and being able to be free of it and being able to use it. We cannot stop making the world. That's happening all the time. We cannot stop making the universe. So we don't stop these minds, but we see that they're going on. And we can let them go to see what we're actually in the situation, what the situation actually is. So I'll talk about all four and then try to put it together. So holding mind, all of us know this idea of holding a grudge. Yeah? Pretty easy. And where is our grudge when we're not noticing it? You know, if I'm out with friends at a party, I'm fine. Then 2 days later, somebody says, oh, I thought you had a grudge against so-and-so. You did this blah, blah, blah happened. Then I remember the thing that happened, the words that were said, the actions that were taken, the job I didn't get, the price, what it cost me. And now that whole narrative has been created and the grudge has returned. Loud and strong, yeah? So I created that whole thing. 3 days earlier, where was my grudge? Then I was reminded that I remembered. Then I created the whole thing, and now I'm holding it. To what benefit? Even the person I have the grudge against may not even know, right? And it could be anger, it could be resentment. There are lots of nuances to a grudge, to negative emotion. It could even be legitimate. You know, as Jampa says, his kids will say, but it happened, it really happened. And then Jampa will say, but what's happening now? What's happening now? So what's happening right now, and my example is I'm making the grudge and I'm holding it. Then I might check it. Is this grudge legitimate? Hell yes. Yeah, this went down, I lost this much money, this many people got hurt. Yeah, so now I'm checking the grudge. I have a grudge and I'm checking. Yep, I got it and I got a good reason to keep it. So this is suffering. Making an object of mind, holding an object of mind, now checking that it's true. And then wanting. I want that grudge because it tells me who I am. I was the guy betrayed. I was the guy let down. So the I, my, me is created by this box, by these four minds. And they have a quality. When one appears, wanting, checking, making, or holding, if it appears, we're still okay. If we attach to it, the other three show up. Instantly. That's the bad news. The good news is, as soon as we realize, oh, I'm just attached to this grudge, I really need to let it go. You know, it was 4 years ago, things are fine. I'm a fool to hold on to it. And I can tell my heart, just let it go. I let go of that grudge, the wanting, checking, and holding also disappear. So we have an experience of freedom from our own objects of mind. And that also will include our heart. Because most of us are living a heartfelt life, yeah? We're living with heart. So heart and mind are not separate. In the West, we have some bullshitty confusion about that. Don't follow that. Your heart and your mind are not separate, yeah? And so we want to do things wholeheartedly. We want to do things authentically with a sensation of from our core. So to get there, we want to be clear. And to get clarity, we have to see what are the objects of mind that I'm holding in my heart-mind, that I'm checking in my heart-mind, that I'm making, and that I'm wanting.